let's talk about speedlights. Like these. Hey, this is Scott Whitegivewith, a storyteller with a camera talking about all the things photographers like you and I are thinking about, and in this video, I want to talk about speedlights. Okay, so here's the thing. This is a speedlight. This is actually one from Nikon. There's a variety of companies who make these. Most of the manufacturers of cameras also make speedlights to match, and they're not all created equal, and should you get a speedlight versus a strobe? Now, this video is not about to get technical. This is just to give you an overview of the difference between a speedlight and a strobe. I'm not getting into all the different light ratios and light powers and stuff like that, but I will give you a sort of dumbed down version because you may not need all the technical stuff. The average speedlight, it goes on a hot shoe. Some of them have a lock mechanism, like this old Nikon SB800 has a lock mechanism, a little flip switch right here. There's typically a screen so you can control things. Now, the SB800s, which are not made anymore, and in my opinion, were the absolute best Nikon speedlights that they made, and that's why I have 6 of them. These are amazing because I can lock it up, I can lock it down, and then everything in between is unlocked. I can even twist it, and it's so powerful too. It also has the optional 5th battery pack. Yes, these take AA batteries, and I can put on a 5th battery for extra power. The newer Nikon models, I don't think they have this. Now, these are small, and this actually acts, this one in particular, not all of them, acts as a flash, a remote, a slave to the master remote. It can do a variety of things. So I can put one of these on my camera and use it to control other SB800 speedlights and do it wirelessly, which is a beautiful thing. But at times, especially outdoors, the wireless, infrared wireless, doesn't travel as far as it would indoors. So sometimes you need to add an accessory, like a pocket wizard or a radio popper or something like that. This is a pocket wizard, and this you would have to like rubber band or zip tie or something to your flash, and you'd have to plug it into the PC port, into the pocket wizard, and then you can use radio signals in order to transmit the firing of it to the other flashes, and each flash would need one of these. Now, the more modern speedlights, Nikon, Canon, and so on, they have radio built in. So they are going away from the infrared and going towards radio, so it's much smarter. They go a much longer range. Now, you might be wondering, how long would the battery last on these? Well, depending on the output you're doing, if you're doing it at the full power, which is 1:1, then you're going to get a lot less battery life than you would if it was 1/128th, which is the lowest that this one goes in particular. But some speedlights, like the SB800, offer the ability to add external battery packs. Now, this is one, I think it takes 8 AA batteries, and I literally can plug it in to a port right here in the front of this and just dangle this on a light stand or whatever. Or if I needed to, I can have it on my belt, because there's a belt loop, and I get a ton more life out of one of these. I can go a full day of doing photography in studio environment or wherever with one of these attached to one of these. But it still doesn't compare, in my opinion, to a strobe. And most modern strobes are actually battery powered. They are monolights. This is a strobe. This is its giant battery. And by the way, this also has radio built in. This one is actually from Godox. There's a ton of manufacturers who make it. If you are in the market for one, I would check out the Godoxes. I would check out the Westcott strobe that they make. But if you want to go for the absolute best and you've got the money to spend on the absolute best, check out Profoto. It's worth noting that the flashes that have radio built in, while they're amazing, they are all specific to each brand. So Profoto will not necessarily work on a Godox. Godox will not work on a Nikon. Nikon will not work on a Canon. And it's not just the radio frequency, it's also the pins and things like that. That's why the brands like Godox have made remote triggers for each specific brand. This is the trigger that goes on top of your camera that is actually for a Nikon body. And as you can see, it has an N on it, and that is for Nikon. The Fuji one would be F, the Canon one would be C, and so on. Now, while I cannot put this on a Canon body or a Panasonic body or an Olympus body or whatever, I can trigger as many Godox flashes as I want with this one remote, basically. Now, one of the advantages of having a strobe is the amount of light modifiers you can put on those strobes securely and large at that. But when it comes to a speedlight, you're a little bit more limited unless you pay more for additional light modifier tools. For example, this is a Nikon SB800 that has a mag mod on here. This is the mag grip, and what this allows me to do is to just throw on a light modifier. But if I want to have more output, or daisy chain basically multiple SB800s and put it through a big softbox, I can't just use this. This can only hold so much. So you need to do something like the big mag box and the mag grid in order to, mount it securely inside, and I can have up to 2 of these and that. Or there's companies who make what's called speed rings for speed lights that hold up to 4 of them, some up to 6. And then you can put it through a big softbox or a big or a big umbrella or anything like that. If you want to learn more about the mag box and how these work potentially in there, check out the video above. Of course, there are other type of strobes that are not monolights, the kind that require you to plug into a wall or have a big pack with it. I don't recommend those for most modern photographers because you limit yourself to wires. Monolights that are battery powered have gotten so affordable. So there's no reason why you need to daisy chain yourself, to tether yourself to a wall just for lighting. And they're super compact. I can take 2 of those Godox 8600 Pros and stick them in one Think Tank Airport Pro rolling bag. 2 strobes and the batteries and some additional accessories in one rolling bag. Now, there are some companies doing innovative things with strobes and speedlights, like Profoto has done some amazing things with their products. But again, sometimes they're the price of a camera and a lens. So do you need to go to that level? Especially if you're a newer photographer or new to lighting, don't go straight to a Profoto. But if you're an advanced photographer, you've been doing it for a long time and it's time for you to get new lights and upgrade, consider Profoto. Then there's brands like Westcott, which are innovating. They're the only one creating a remote that works across all brands. One remote that will do TTL on any camera you put it on. TTL. By the way, TTL basically is a smart automated flash system where you don't have to think about the light power of each different light. The camera will tell the remote to tell the lights what to do. This is good for the sort of run and gun situations where you need something fast, but when you want more control, you're going to want to put that on manual and not TTL, of course. But the beautiful thing is, getting back to that, is that Westcott is making it possible to have one remote and one product of one strobe that works across all brands. Whereas a Godox or many other manufacturers, you have to buy their specific remote. So the core differences between a speedlight and a strobe are basically the size, of course, is a big difference, but to get the power of one strobe, you need a bunch of speedlights and light modifiers and products that give you the ability to put a whole bunch of lights into one modifier. So the light output is far reduced on a speedlight than it is on a strobe. The size, of course, of a strobe is going to be larger, but depending on the company, the product you get, they're not much larger, really. You will also have larger batteries, which give you more runtime, which means you could also bump up your power as needed and still have a good amount of time. Plus, a lot of these strobes have TTL built in and high-speed sync, just like the little speedlights. So my recommendation for those who don't have to worry about the size so much, invest in a lower end strobe, battery powered monolight. The Godox products, they're affordable. You can get it under Godox or many other names. They kind of white label their products for Adorama and other companies. So if you're an Adorama customer, check out Flashpoint. It's made by Godox and you can save a little bit of money. So that's the core differences. And it's a matter of what you need right now, your personal preferences, and what you might need in the future. But my recommendation is now, at this point in 2020, it's time to drop the speedlights and go with these battery-powered strobes. There's just too many advantages. If you like this video, click that subscribe button right now. I publish new videos every Monday and Thursday, whenever possible. You don't want to miss it.